Hi, welcome to Infusion Health, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, a.k.a. self-proclaimed Power Man. And I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey, guys.
Now, we just want to say, before we get started, we just want to say we've done over 50 shows in one. How many shows has it been, Rach?
Over 50.
Over 50 shows in 1 year, and we just want to give a shout out to all the listeners and all the subscribers, and we just want to say thank you very much. I mean, I can't believe we've gotten that far.
Yeah.
And I'm the one doing them. I get this thing from, I think it was Buzzsprout, and they said, congratulations on your 50. I'm like, we've done 50 shows already. So, yeah, to all the subscribers and all the listeners, we just want to say thank you very much for supporting us, and all our friends and all that who have supported us and been on the show, and all I guess we just want to say thank you very much. Yeah, it's a feat. I can't believe it. Could you believe it, Rach?
No, I could not. I was so happy about it.
Okay, so, and we're going to get into today's guest now. This is very interesting. Doing the research on this, I was just like, okay, she's been to Peru. She's she's what they call a shamanist or shaman. And Rach actually met her at the Body Lab USA Holistics Healing and Wellness Fair.
Absolutely.
Back in March. Her name is Mary Newstrom. Mary, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Great.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Now you're a shamanist, right?
It's what I go by is shamanic practitioner.
Shamanic.
And
shamanic.
Yep.
Shamanic.
Shamanic. Okay. Shamanic practitioner. And what exactly does that entail?
It means I work with the healing energy of the earth. I take people through getting connected to nature and really draw that into a spirituality of that we're all interconnected. And I work in the different dimensions of where our spirit guides, our guardian angels are. So it's really encompassing, but the main thing is understanding we're really connected to everything, particularly nature.
Okay, and you said spirit guides. How do you get in touch with? Because whenever I hear spirit guides, I always think of the lady Jay-Z Knight, who supposedly she could connect with this warrior named Rampha or something like that. And I was looking at some of these videos, and I was just like, to me, it let's just say I wasn't impressed. You know, I wasn't a believer. But what exactly do you do as far as spirit guides?
Sure, and I'm not familiar with who you're talking about, so I can't refer back to her. But what I'm talking about is we all have guardian angels or guides over us, and I teach people how to connect with them. Some of it is simple as just watching for simple messages that may be coming to you. In shamanism, we also believe we have spirit animals, totems that are watching over us. So it might be a hawk, and in a particular situation, you may see a hawk fly by, and that would be considered a message. So a lot of it is really easy to do and easy to connect.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, I believe because when I ran away when I was 16, I always felt like there was a presence protecting over me.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's what Enrique. That's what I'm talking about. It's those types of feelings. And then if people go deeper or want to learn more, I can teach them how to go through a meditative technique, which in shamanism we call journeying, that allows them to connect in a deeper level with these guides.
So when you're connecting, like there's a popular song out there by Peter Gabriel called Salisbury Hill, and what it was
Mm-hmm.
have you heard the song?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What the song is basically about is that he was leaving Genesis and he was going to go solo, and he didn't know if he was going to make it being a solo artist and all that. But there's a line in the song where he went up on this hill and he was just like thanking. Then he saw this eagle, and there's a lyric in the song, eagle flew out from the night, and then he knew that he could he just had to face his demons and just go forward and just move forward. And there's
that's a perfect example.
And there's also a line too. I think he says, "Pack your bags. We've come to take you home." You know, and
Yeah.
he knew he could go forward. But let's talk more about the shaman.
Shamanic.
Shamanic.
There we go.
I'm gonna get it by the end of
I would hope so.
So you connect with these. Somebody comes in and let's say they're suffering from depression or something like that. You can connect them as far as to these guardian angels or to these spirits that can guide them in the direction you want them. Are exactly who exactly do you work with? People depressed? What kind of people do you work with?
I actually work with everybody from very healthy that want to come in and like a massage or acupuncture or chiropractor come in for tune-up. And so with those individuals, I'd work with clearing their energy. We all get energy stuck on us.
Yep.
A good way to think about it, Cris, is have you ever walked into a room, no one's there, but you can feel the energy that's still there, maybe even really icky or really good?
Yeah.
That's an energy signature, and it naturally gets stuck into our energy. So I clear that.
I think a great way to explain that is when couples are going into events and trying to figure out, do I want to get married here or not? You know, feeling that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling that energy of, do I want to get married here? What kind of feeling do I get here?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so I work with any individual that wants, like I said, wants just a tune-up, a cleanse to people that are going through very tough situations that maybe need a little bit more guidance. I rebalance their energy. I pull that energy away from them that's been stuck on them. Give them tips of how they can stay balanced and healthy. And if it makes sense, I can teach people how to connect with their own guardian angels or their own spirit guides, animal guides, to help them through the process of whatever they're going through.
Mm-hmm. So like you're Reiki. So do you do touch massage, or do you do like Reiki? Because we know we've done shows with Reiki practitioners, and we know that there's no touching.
I do. You can touch with Reiki, but I do no touch. I mostly use my shamanic energy healing, which is working with my guides. Really, energy healing comes from the same place, which is the divine, higher power, whatever you want to call it, God. But then other tools that I'm able to use, because I work very closely with my guides in balancing and healing other people. But I do focus because I'm a Reiki master as well, I focus that Reiki energy down. But I'm hands off. So people will still feel the energy going into them because it's that powerful, and I don't need to be touching them for that.
Now, in your bio, it says that you use other tools sometimes to help clear that.
Mm-hmm. And that means things like a rattle or drumming, Palo Santo, sage. So all of those have energy associated with them and can break things up, and then I move them out.
Mm-hmm.
I get it on sage. I work at the hospital, and just the other day, I mean, everything was going crazy. I said, I'm going to burn some sage down this hallway because it's going insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, help me out.
Yep.
Help me out with this one. One time, okay, there was a few years ago, and I couldn't go because of something. I think I had to work or something like that. But anyways, Rachel had to go to Marshall, Minnesota to see her family. And she took everybody. She took the kids, everybody. And I was at home alone. And I was like, good, I get the house to myself. But then when I came home, like you were talking about that energy, and when we're home and the kids are here, the house is very chaotic. It's just. But then when I came home and it was quiet and I didn't have the chaos, I was like, man, I kind of missed the chaos. You know?
The first day you didn't. The first day you were like, I'm enjoying this. But we were gone for about 3 days. And by then he was like, I'm glad to see you guys again.
But yeah, I felt I did have a feeling that energy was out of the room, was out of the place, you know? So I know what you're talking about when you don't have it, because it's like, you know, you have the yelling and the screaming and the arguing. You know, kids will be kids, but then it's like when they were gone, I was like, man, I miss that.
Yes, yeah, and yes, you're tapped into your kid's energy, which of course you are. You know, and that when it wasn't there, you could really feel the absence of that.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your life. So you went to college, and then you how did you get into this?
It's kind of interesting, Chris. I've always been interested in this type of like metaphysical spirituality or paranormal since I was a little girl. I would go to the library and get books on like things like the Bermuda Triangle, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and it always intrigued me. And when I was attending the University of Minnesota, getting my undergrad around 1982, I was going through a tough.
What were you getting your undergrad in?
All my degrees are in psychology.
Okay.
All of them. Yeah. So obviously I have an affinity for that subject. And I was going through, in around 82, I was going through some, I think, pretty typical college age type things, and reached out to my guardian angels and named one of them. And he then came to me in a dream. His name's Zenith, and I named my whole practice after him. And that's really when I started working deeper with my guides. And then just continued working, interacting with them, but then went on and had traditional jobs, worked in the corporate setting, nonprofit, taught at a university, did community organizing. And in the 90s, branched off and started looking at different types of spirituality. But until I went to Peru, which was about 8 years ago, that's when I really found my connection to shamanism. Really felt like that was the spirituality that I was connected to. And I've been going back to Peru, working and studying with the shamans there in Tarapoto every year since then, except 2020, because no one traveled then.
Yeah.
And and so, and I take a group back, and I'm taking a group in July. And it's transformational, working there, working with the plant medicine, and being in a total retreat where you're disconnected from the outside world, and you can just focus in on yourself.
Mm-hmm. So when you first went to Peru, how long were you in Peru?
A couple weeks. I go a couple weeks each year.
Okay.
And that the first time I went, I was in Sacred Valley, which is close to Machu Picchu. Mm-hmm. And after that, though, there was an opportunity to go right into the jungle, and so I'm in the Amazon jungle when I go now.
Okay, so like you said, you work with people trying to balance, trying to rebalance. Did you work with like business people or
everybody? I don't necessarily reach out to businesses per se, but my clients are executives, vice presidents. They're people that are clerks and mechanics. So every different type of person you can imagine has come to me. I can also do it over Zoom because I'm working in a different dimension. I'm not like physically doing a massage or something where the person has to be with me. I can do it in my healing studio in St. Louis Park, or I can do it over Zoom as well.
So, Mary, I got a question for you. A lot of people in many different areas of their work life, whether it be hospital, restaurant, podcasting, whatever, we're not feeling burnt out, but I'm hearing about all these people that are getting burnt out. First off, have you worked with a lot of those people, and what kind of energy is that?
Well, I have worked with a lot of those people, and what I have found is that they come to me saying, I feel like I need to be doing something different, something with more meaning. That's how they're presenting themselves to me. So I would say a lot of people come that way. And they're just like, I'm seeking more meaning. And with when they come to me with that, what I also do spiritual wellness coaching. I try to dive deeper in. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave your job, but let's dive deeper into how can we make it more meaningful, or what can you be doing outside your work, or ultimately, does it mean some type of change?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, no, you go ahead.
So I was going to say, so you're talking about, we had a episode with Anna, and she was talking about you're looking, these people are wanting to start working more with their heart instead of their mind, or just being on, day to day, this is what I'm doing, they get burnt out from that. So you're talking about they want to start working more with their heart.
Correct. 100% correct. They want to be more in harmony with what they feel like they're supposed to be here. They feel like they're kind of like, another analogy is walking upstream. It's kind of like it's more of it's not in flow, and they want to be more in flow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, like when we did that podcast with Anna, one of the things I told her with me personally was like, give an example. A few years ago, Rachel calls me up and she's like, "Well, I lost my job," and she lost her job because she
ultimately I reported a nurse for being too much with a patient.
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, I've never been fired before." I said, "Well, it's beginning of summer. Enjoy your summer. Wait till you find something you want. I can financially, I can take care of us until then." But you got the whole summer to relax. Just relax and enjoy the summer, and just. And my thing was with me is like, I've been fired from a lot of jobs, but when I've been fired, it hasn't been a thing of, oh my God, I'm freaking out, or I'm mad and want to go hurt anybody and all that. That I just knew that this ain't what I want to do, And it was like, I'm doing it to make money. I'm doing it to, to survive, to pay rent, put gas in the car and all that. But it was like, this ain't what I want to do. And I've always been one of those people that's like, and then when I was thinking about it with her, I was like, I've always had that entrepreneurial mind, and I've started my own business in the last year, but I've always had this entrepreneurial mind that this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do,
Yeah. That's perfect. You're in touch with where you think you want to go with things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes trying to get in touch with who you are can take a long time. Can take a year, 2 years, or 3 years. But there are people who are CEOs and stuff like that. Said, I'm leaving this and I'm going to do this.
Absolutely. And with individuals like that, I coach them on how to do that. And really, Cris, you bring up a good point, is it does take sometimes a little bit of time to figure out, well, what is your calling? What's your passion? How to make that into a reality. And that's the big thing is I work with my students that are in Spirit Flow, my Shamanic study program. One of the key things is helping them figure out, well, what's their passion? But then how to manifest it or how to move on it. Because It's one thing to work with someone and identify it. What I find is then being the coach is I want to help people move closer to that being a reality.
Mm-hmm. Well, like also too, one of the things I do is I work out, I exercise, and I go to the gym, but I meet a lot of people who are like, well, I'd like to start exercising. I like to start working out. And my thing is like, well, have you joined a gym? Have you taken that step? Have you even bought some shoes, and have you started running? Have you started doing push-ups? Have you changed your diet? Well, no. Okay. Well, then these are the things you got to do before you can move forward,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. And absolutely. People ask me all the time, how can I get to X, Y, Z? I might give a suggestion, something like you did. And it's a little disappointing when the response is, well, I can't do that, or I'm not willing to do that. And the reality is you have to be open to saying yes, and you have to do things.
Yeah. Now, Mary, I've had a couple different energy works in different ways. There was one that laid me on her bed. There was another one that sat me in her chair. How do you usually move the energy through the people's bodies?
I usually do it. I can do it either way, but my typical way is to have people lay on their back, fully closed on my bed, my healing bed, and relaxing I usually put an eye pillow over their eyes so they can just totally zone out. A few fall asleep. So most go into just total relaxation. I'll play some music, and then I'll do some light drumming, might burn some sage over them. And then I just work on, like I said, either instilling them with divine energy or pulling out any stuck energy that's holding them down.
Okay. Now, my one friend who does Reiki, she was talking about sometimes she hears things that people need to be told. Do you usually tell them in that moment, or you kind of sit down with them and talk to them about it afterwards?
I do after, and the reason why, and I do know that some say it right away, is because I really want my clients to relax and just kind of, this one thing I've really noticed with my students and my clients is everybody is going they're running from place to place to place. So people come running into my place. I work on getting them relaxed before they get even on the healing bed. And then at that point, I want the 60 minutes to be a chance that they can zone out, or if they're getting messages, or if they're getting ideas or inspiration. Maybe they have an idea and all of a sudden some inspiration's coming. I don't want to be interrupting that. So I wait to the very end, and then we have 10, 15 minutes where I'm just saying, this is what I did. Here's some messages I got. And, they can always follow up by email or call. Mm-hmm.
Well, you got any examples of people that you have gotten messages, and how exactly did you guide them, and what were they looking for?
Before I start a session, too, I ask, well, is there anything in particular you want more guidance? And it can be anywhere. Should I create this new business, or should I move? Sometimes it's about relationships. Should I stay with this person? So it's all of those types of questions. And once I'm tapped into my guides doing healing, they will just provide guidance. And what I tell people too is the answers I get are one more piece of the puzzle, and that they should take that into consideration, because also things change very quickly too. If I give it, yes, you should do this, let's say in a business adventure, but then the next day something radically changes with the opportunity. My information might not be correct anymore because things have changed. So what I give is a suggestion. People take it as one piece of the puzzle, but it's on everything, anything that people want to ask about.
So how was it? Because there was a lot of negative energy back in 2020 because we had the pandemic. What was it like working with people back then, and dealing with because there was people getting laid off, people losing their jobs, people their businesses, they weren't able to pay the rent. Excuse me. So what was it like working with people then?
I felt a lot of fear energy out there.
Yeah. With what I did was I just, using the term held space, I was there to hear people and their concerns and give them guidance on how they might be able to feel better, spend time outside, or just really talking about more positive things, or being optimistic that this is going to pass. I just approached everything with a lot of compassion, a lot of space for people being fearful, being afraid, unsure what's going on, and just listening to that. I have over 40 students in my program, and so I brought everybody together over Zoom, of course, at that time period. Yeah. And we just made sure everybody had what they needed. I mean, we started out every meeting with who needs toilet paper? So it's so we were there, and we were there to support. And so that's what it is. What I did was, is I doubled down on building community. I made sure everyone was connected with the community that I'm building through my school, through my clients. And then I was there to listen.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny what happened with that toilet paper. Of all things. I mean, people were learning how to cook and stuff like that. Flour's not going out. Toilet paper is. What was that?
Totally.
But one of the things I saw with the pandemic, one of the things I liked seeing was I started seeing families were together more because I saw people going on bike rides with their family and stuff like that because you had to be. And I was like, oh, good. And, people are starting to get out of the house. People are starting to, take walks with their families and stuff like that. Because I think we had lost that because we're so much into working, making money, paying this and that.
Technology.
Yeah. And cooking went up a lot more because people were starting to cook at home. We're like, hey, we can't afford to, call these people to bring food to us.
Well, it's not even that we can't afford it. A lot of those places had to close down because of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people started cooking more. Well, I've always cooked. I do most of the cooking at the house anyways, and I love to cook, but yeah, I saw a lot more people cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of people doing more things that they maybe had never tried before.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then it also changed too in the natural world because people started wanting more vegetables, more fruits, more real fruits, and I saw a big change in that.
So my question, Mary, is now that I can't say that we're out of the pandemic, but we're starting to feel a different side of the pandemic. Are you starting to get more clients that are, okay, I just had that whole heart moment. How do I continue this in the most positive way?
Absolutely. People now I'm holding things in person, still doing them over Zoom, so a hybrid so that everybody can participate at their comfort level. Mm-hmm. And there's some people, students of mine that started on their journey over Zoom, and I've never met them in person yet because they do everything over Zoom. But yeah, it's more now, but people are now like, okay, we've gone through a lot. You're right. We're not at the other end, but you're absolutely right that it's changed the idea of the pandemic and people are ready to get out there. And so people want to do more type of, involvement with the community, reaching out, helping. And that's where I am also assisting in connecting with them with different opportunities to maybe do some service to the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let's see.
Now, my question from when you were a little girl to when you got your first hearing from your archangel is when some people do that, they're like, okay, because I believe that children are more connected with the spirits than adults are. And when adults come to it, they're like, some of them are scared. Like, what was that? When you had those conversations with people, just for our listeners, what do you tell them?
You mean like when I hear other people's guides and they're and how I convey that?
Yeah.
Rach? Okay.
Yeah.
By the time that when individuals come to me, they're looking for a message. They want connection, and I'm very down to earth. And so I just am, when I'm explaining things, I just explain it straightforward. But even though it can be a little bit scary when people are coming, they're ready to hear a little bit of guidance, messages, and they know that they're working with a compassionate spirit guide, guardian angel that only has their highest good in mind. And so people get through that fear.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm one of those people that it's like I've always been like I wanted to do this. Like back when I was a musician, when I started, it's like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go forward, and I just did it. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like when I went into stand up, it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And I wasn't great at first, and I just did it. I'm just one of. It's like I didn't really need. I don't know if I had a spirit guide but I've always been one of those people like, if you're going to do it, then do it, practice it, study it, do it, and just go forward and do it. Even with this business, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. This is, and I just go forward and just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great attitude. And maybe we all have guides around us. Mm-hmm. It just depends on how active they are in your life. So, you certainly do have some that are with you, and maybe they are cheering you on. because that's what they like to do. They're your number one fan. And what I do is just teach people how to tap into that. And I think it also gives people great comfort, particularly when going through a tough time, to know that there is someone on the other side watching over them. And people like to have that connection.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this has been a very very interesting conversation. And if you want if people want to get a hold of you, can they email you at I got Mary at zenithhigh.com? Absolutely,
and it's ZenithHigh.com. Absolutely, email me, reach out. You can get to my website with zenithhigh.com. It lists everything that I do and my services, and you can schedule a session with me as well.
What about is it okay if I give your phone number out, or?
Yes, you can give out the phone number too.
Yeah, if you want to get hold of Mary, and if you want to have her talk to you and get in touch with your spirit guides, you can call her at 952-913-5574. That's 952-913-5574. And I think, Rach, you'll have
I'll have it all in the description of this podcast. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
I'm glad
thanks. We had a good time. We had a good time with you too.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a good day.
And I'll let Rach close us out.
All right. On here, we're building lines of love where history has built lines of hate, and we're trying to make you guys your best advocate. If you want to get in touch with Mary, you can find out in the comments, or in the bio. And then for us, listen, subscribe, and tell others. So you guys have a great one.